All right, welcome to PacWest Bigfoot. This is David, and today got a good friend Joel on from Southern Oregon, and we're going to be talking a little bit and sharing a little bit about his experiences and over there. I believe it's on the Oregon coast, is it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, near the Oregon coast, and so I'm going to go ahead and let you take over, man. You can just kind of start from some of the experiences of some friends over there that you have, and your own. So go ahead.
Okay. Hey, I've lived over here on the coast for, I'm going on 5 years, going on 6 years right now, and we moved into our house in about November 2013. And just kind of the background on it, it's on one of the lakes out here, and we can see the lake, or we're not right on it, and in the back of our house it's just total mountains. It's you go up and over our hill, and it's nothing but wilderness, and actually goes to another lake. So I have a few neighbors. We're right on the edge of the boonies. I got a little bit of neighbors next to us, and then once you get past them, you're in the sticks. So the house that we had bought had been unoccupied for a year and a half. It was a bank-owned home. So, and I think that plays into what's kind of been going on.
Okay.
We just started feeling uneasy around the house, and we're playing off our minds that we never lived in the country before. I've always lived in rural areas, but not in the country. And just playing off my mind, it's animals, or, whatever noises you hear, it's a bobcat, or it's cougars, or birds even.
Mm-hmm.
And we just always felt watched out here and uneasy. And I just play it off in my mind. And one day, I don't know if it was November or December, right after we moved in here, I looked up the hill and I just see these bushes shaking violently. Like, that's weird. And I thought, well, I think I just saw a bear. I told my wife, hey, we saw a bear up there, I think. Bushes are shaking, and all of a sudden it stopped, and I didn't see anything, but yeah, it must have been a bear. What else could it be? That was probably the very first thing I noticed that was odd. And just kind of getting to things, just in general here, we would hear weird stuff for about a year. We'd hear noises. We'd hear growls that we couldn't explain. Oh, that must be a bobcat. Oh, we never thought bear, It was not just weird low bear grunts all over the place. Like, oh, that's a bobcat, or that's a weird owl, or that's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We have motion lights next to right above my girl's room, and I have 4 little girls. I have 2 special need girls, and the lights would come on and off and on and off. I come home around midnight, 12:30 at night. I work a swing shift, and the motion light would be going on and off, on and off, on and off. And I come in the room sometimes, and my girls will be looking out the window, and I'm like, get away from the window. What are you guys doing? And sometimes I come to the window, and my girls will be leaning out the window. The window is open, and they're looking outside it. So that just made me really feel uneasy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really thinking, oh, this must be a Bigfoot or something. But, I don't want my girls looking out the window at lights coming on and off in the middle of the nighttime. It just didn't feel good or feel right, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife would hear different noises. I was kind of going to get away from all this Bigfoot stuff and let it go, let it be, just say whatever, this is what happens out here. And I started listening to some podcasts and stuff again, going on my way to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I play noises for my wife. Like, here's this noise. Like, this lady heard a baby cry in the woods, and I play this noise for her, and she just lights up. This is right now when I play it for her. She's like, yeah, that's what I heard. So she would hear babies crying in the woods. She would hear kids talking in the woods. I mean, she'd hear it at night, about 10 or 11 at night when I'm gone. And she would open her windows or open the door thinking there's a kid outside lost in the woods, doing the motherly instinct thing. And she'd freak out because 1, maybe it was our kid, or 2, was someone else's kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the people that live up above us are all retired folks and very, very old. I've met most of them, and there's really not any neighbors around here with young kids. not above us anyway. And then she'd look in our rooms, and all of our girls would be there. So that's weird. There's kids talking or crying up in the bushes. And you've been on anywhere in the Oregon forest, especially the Oregon coast, at nighttime, you can't see anything in the woods. And
Yeah.
little kids just don't go play out in the woods.
It's just pitch black.
Yeah. In the daytime, sometimes you can't see your hand in front of your face if you go in the right spots.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what really, I guess, said, hey, we got like a Bigfoot thing maybe going on here is she talked about this chatter that she heard. And at this time, I had been listening to some podcasts and everything, and, probably thought, Bigfoot might be real. I'm living on the Oregon coast, and I'm kind of suspecting we might have these things going on here. And he talked about this. There's kids, he said, just off to the side of our house, probably about 40 yards from our place. She heard us talk.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, what did it sound like? And she said, I don't know. It kind of sounded like maybe chipmunks or something. And how she just described it was it was back and forth between two things, at least. It goes, this chatter, and she couldn't figure it out. She's looking out the window and trying to figure it out. And the dogs are quiet. There's nothing going on. There's a lot of dogs out in this area. And then something happened. It was like a flip switch, and it got angrier deep. It was like, and as soon as it did that, all the dogs in the neighborhood just start going crazy.
Oh,
and that's kind of when, like, okay, we really got something going on here. Kind of my blood ran cold. It was like, we hear all these things going on. We see these lights going on and off, these girls acting weird at night. And then I heard that chatter, and it's exactly what I've heard other people experience on these other shows or even talking to people about their experiences. And it was like, hey, I think we might have something going on here. So, after that, I'm looking around and I'm like, I think that might be a Bigfoot. And she didn't want to hear it. She didn't. I think she kind of believed in it, but that doesn't happen in your place. So, what was it? It was Friday the 13th in February. I just remember it because it was Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. And or the night of the 12th, on the 13th. And we woke up one day, and I went out to my driveway, and it's just packed gravel. And I find 20-inch, I don't know if you call them footprints or skid marks or, 20-inch impressions. One of them was 20 inches. Then I had a bunch of them that were like maybe half a footprint, just in different patterns, shapes, whatever. And we said, hey, look at this. What do you think about this? And, I put my foot down. I got a size 13 foot, and this thing was, almost double the size and length. Oh, we got a babysitter. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Hey, look out, guys. All right, we'll start this again. Okay, so I'm looking outside, and my foot is half the size of what these things were in width too. I mean, that really got me the most. Because you could skid a foot mark or a footprint, make it look longer, but this thing was easily twice as wide as my foot. Mm-hmm. And they made no difference. They were perpendicular to our tire on our car, so what's digging marks in the grass. The little kids next door, he's not little there, and neighbor kids are older than mine, and little remote control cars, and like, hey, did you guys put cars out in our yard? Or I don't care. But, oh no, we didn't do that. No, and they're most struck with ever, for their age, and they're not going to lie to me, or, they say, oh yeah, we did that. So I have pictures of those. There was maybe a dozen or so of those prints. And then we found a clump of hair right next to our bedroom window. And we're thinking, is it a bear? No. Well, we had some compost bins, and we had trash cans out there that weren't dirt or anything like that. Something had dug through the compost bin, and there were some eggs in there, eggshells. They weren't destroyed. They weren't scattered out like a bear or raccoons would do. They just looked like something had looked through it and said, oh, there's nothing here really to eat, and left it alone. Mm-hmm. So it didn't destroy it like a bear or something would do. So after that, I said, okay, let's tell somebody, start contacting people and say, hey, look, is this a Bigfoot print? Is this what's going on here? Is this, whatever. I took pictures of the other things, and I showed everybody at work. I'm like, oh, that's a Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot. And you had one or two skeptics like, no, that's not a Bigfoot. Well, what is it? Oh, it's a bear. I'm like, how big of a bear? Well, they get really big here, like 800 pounds. I'm like, no, they don't get that big on the coast, 800 pounds. That would be a state or a world record. And a 400-pound bear is huge here. Mm-hmm. I knew it. I think still ignoring it, she looked at me and say, just drop it. You're obsessed. Leave it alone. And then one night, she comes into my room. One of my girls was sick, and so she went and climbed into this, and she wasn't going to do that, so she went and slept on the couch. And she comes in our room at night and, almost in tears, like, hey, there's...
Wait, say that again. It kind of faded out there for a second.
She came to my room and said, hey, there's tree rocks outside, and she's almost in tears. And I went and sat down on my couch, and
you're kind of fading out in and out with your phone connection.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you right now.
Can you hear me, David?
Yeah.
Okay. So, my wife said there's tree knocks, and in tears, almost, and I grab a rifle, I go next, and I sit on my couch, and you could see outside my curtains, they really weren't blocking anything, it was just for decoration, so you could kind of see and out of these curtains. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting there listening, and I'm about ready to fall asleep, or I'd nodded off, and I just hear this pow, and pow, and later on another pow. It was 3 or 4 wood knocks, followed by just as loud what sounded like rocks on rocks, just next to our house, next to our neighbors. The area that was coming from was kind of the place that's housed and developed. Things sounded like pistol shots. They were that loud. They echoed that much. It was amazing how much force and stuff there was to it. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I don't see anything. My neighbors didn't hear anything. I asked them, did you hear any shooting last night? Or you hear any loud bangs or any bears getting your stuff? No. Nobody hears, sees nothing. He heard it. I heard it. She's buying up here. So, it's just
I kind of missed you there again for a few seconds. Yeah, can't hear you. There.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'll try my best here. It's kind of cutting in and out. I have never seen a Bigfoot. I might have seen something down in New Mexico a long, long time ago, and I don't know what it was, but, I haven't seen class. Mm-hmm. This thing has fur. It looks like the Patterson Bigfoot or anything like that, or others that people talk about. I've never seen that. I've seen all these things going on here, and if I had seen one, I could just go down the checklist saying, yep, okay, this and this and this and this, yep, you got to put it in place. But I don't. I just can't take that, jump all the way in on it and say, yeah, this is what it is. But, I can't explain what these things are or what's going on, because how many coincidences or weird experiences do you have to have until you say, well, this is probably what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, well, not kind of the next experience that really like, okay, yeah, this is really what it is we went up to this campground on this mountain. It's about probably 4 or 5 miles away from us as the crow flies, maybe even less.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a really desolate, isolated campground. And we would run our dogs up there. And we've been up there several times, and we went up and started throwing a rock for our dog, a big old German Shepherd, and he would just run and run and run and run. And we felt safe up there, but I'm on the boonies and the stuff's going on, so I'm bringing guns with me. And I look back and it's like, well, if I got to bring guns up to the place, why am I taking my family there? Well, I don't know. So my wife is throwing this ball for my dog. I'm always kind of like, yeah, this is kind of a creepy place, and I always kind of felt watched. But we got our German Shepherd there, we got guns, and we're good to go. I've been on that mountain a lot of times getting wood and things like that. Hey, whatever. So she said, hey, we got to go. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, well, I think I just saw a bear. A bear. If you're skittish, they run away from you. They hear your car, they take off. You're lucky to see one when you're driving on the logging roads, because they're afraid of the noise. Mm-hmm. The bears are more gutsy in town than they are out of town in the country. And we would have heard it crashing through the bushes trying to get away from us. And she's like, I don't know what I saw. I saw a bear. It's like, okay, whatever. We'll go. And 2.5 weeks later, hey, let's go run the dog. Let's go up there again and run them up there, get out of here. And we go up there, and there's this guy cutting grass. He's cutting grass for the campgrounds, and he's talking to this other couple. And I start talking to him and thinking maybe this guy's seen something. And so we're just chatting and on things like that. And all of a sudden, it's like, well, I got to go, but hey, look out for Bigfoot. I just kind of like shake my head. I was like, I've heard that about this place, or you have something happen to you? And he kind of, him and Han is like, I've had things happen. He's like, well, 2 weeks ago, I was up here and I got growled at or yelled at or something. I was like, really? Oh, what happened? He said, I came up here, I was going to cut the grass. I pulled my trailer around, I was going to come out and have a cigarette, and this thing just growled at me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, what did it sound like? And he's, him and Han is like, I don't know. I just can't describe it. And I said, it kind of sound like this, like, and then kind of exhales after you growl, or you growl, deep growl, and then exhales. Like, yeah. So I told my wife to do it. Like, hey, honey, will you make that sound that we hear? You've heard the house. And she wouldn't do it. She's embarrassed. She didn't want to talk about Bigfoot or anything. And I was like, here, I'll do it. And he just does this big old growl and then breathes out after that. And she just starts kind of turning red and closes her eyes and shaking her head. She's like, yeah, that's exactly what I hear. These two people who don't know each other from anybody on the street up at this campground talking about things that don't exist and making the same noise. Mm-hmm. And 3 or 4 miles from my house. So, I guess there's some more coincidences for you.
Yeah.
How do you explain that? I don't know.
I don't know. That's
someone just making crazy things up, or hey, man, I heard this weird noise in the campground, and this is what it is. And well, yeah, that's what we hear too. We've never seen this guy, ever. I said I haven't seen a Bigfoot. I haven't seen something definitive. My wife maybe had. I think maybe she saw one up there at that campground, or in the campground when that happened. And the guys happened, he was there like 3 days after we were there too.
Mhm.
So same time period. So I think she might have seen something up there that day. The girls have seen.
Yeah, you had mentioned your girls had seen something out their own window, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if they've seen it out the window or their bedroom window or the living room window or something. One day, she was 3 at the time. She comes in, she had a fever and she was just tired and delirious and things. And it was kind of a creepy night. You know, felt like you can kind of feel when things are going to go on, and or know kind of when something's around or something's up. And it felt like that. I don't think she saw something that night, but she came to us and she's crying. She's like, no, monkey bears. Like, monkey bears? Oh, no. Oh, red eyes. No, scary, red eyes. Like, okay. And she's got my wife's and my intent. And she's like, ow. Oh, it's flat nose.
Flat nose.
You know, and this is coming from a 3-year-old who's has a fever and is just kind of out of it. We never talked about Bigfoot or Sasquatch in front of them. You know, hey, we'll scare the kids or something, or they don't need to hear that, or they're really young to hear that. Now they're all about it. They see carvings or shows and the Bigfoot, yeah. And you ask them now, have you seen Bigfoot? No. And you know, and then sometimes, oh yeah, Bigfoot climbs in that tree or crosses the road. No, they don't live here. You can't answer anytime. So, but here my girl is. We never talked about it, and you know, the time when she's never not going to be messing around or playing around, talks about monkey bears with red eyes that have flattened. You know, I don't know how you would describe a Bigfoot if you're a kid, but I'm thinking that'd be probably pretty close.
Pretty darn close there, yeah. That is,
you know, what is it a monkey? Is it a bear? Is it a man? Is it, you know, a monster? You know, she didn't say it was a monster. It's a monkey bear. So, you know, so now we're like, hey, you know what? Knock it off, or the monkey bears will come. No.
That's funny. So you guys still live in that,
you know,
that house?
David, I could go on and on, and you know, I've written some emails and stuff. And can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You still live in that general area right now?
Yeah, I live in the same area. And I could go on and on and on. I have emails I've written like about right after experiences have happened that are pretty detailed and stuff. And, you know, all these different things going on. And, you know, kind of what made me want to talk to people again or something is I hear all these stories about, you know, these things or whatever coming up to people's houses, and what do you do? Or, you know, we've had things hit our house, slap our house. We've heard growls. We've heard, you know, whistles. Went out the back door. And we heard things chatting. I think these things are trying to get my neighbor's dogs. We hear all this weird talking to the dogs, and we're like, that's different. And so my wife whistles. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, sometimes I whistle out when I hear that, and something whistled back from up the mountain. We're like, wow, okay, that's weird. And then to our right, you know, where the neighbors are at, where the houses are at, something whistles from there too. You know, mind you, the people that live next to us and above us are 80, 85 years old. Not out at midnight, not out whistling in the middle of the night.
Yeah, no.
And there's no kids there.
Well, they probably couldn't hear you whistle from
there. You know, what do you do? Oh, yeah, you're not going to hear. We wouldn't hear someone whistling if the windows are shut, if the TV's on, if the dishwasher's going. You just don't hear that.
Is the slap on the
what do you
house
do when
that happened a few times, or
you're cutting out there?
Oh, the slapping on the house. Does that happen a few times, and when does it usually happen?
Yeah, when I'm not here, things would normally happen from 10 to 11 or 9 to 11. I get home at 12:30, and when I'm not here, things happen. And I've slapped the house as hard as I could. Like, does it sound like that? Well, kind of, but a lot louder. You know, we thought we might have had a handprint, and we had some kind of mud on the house, like a dirty handprint maybe at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, how'd that get there? Well, I heard something last night. We just thought it was a bang, or maybe a branch fell on their house, hoping that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't explain it. The growl, my wife said she heard a growl outside the window. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I go out one time with a tape measure, and I figured, the window's 8 feet tall. Like, well, no, it's 8 feet tall, to the middle of the window. It's 10 feet tall to the top of the window. And she said she's heard growling from coming above that. It was like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
Well, that doesn't mean something's 11 or 12 feet tall. Maybe something was a little bit away from it, or maybe it sounded or echoed up
there
somehow. But that's pretty tall, nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
so.
Huge. Is there
again? What do you do? I mean,
is there a particular time of the year where it seems that things are a little bit more active?
Well, we used to would say it was like the fall time, like November, after when we kind of figured out what was going on. November 1st, something was going to happen in November every year.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time that didn't happen was this last year. And things have kind of died down a little bit. Well, actually a lot. It died down, but there's still things that go on or noises that happen. But November things would happen, and then sometimes like the late summer, like this time of year, and it seems like it dies off. I don't know, September, October,
mm-hmm.
Hunting season, and there'd be a few months that would just be really quiet. But we always think, okay, November's coming, something's going to start happening again. And for 2 or 3 years, it definitely did happen.
Yeah,
but not this last year. So, when I didn't know what was going on here or what to do, what do you do when there's a Bigfoot at your place? You don't call the police. You don't, I told some neighbors, and some are like, well, that might happen. I might, they're looking at you like you're crazy, so kind of what we did, some advice we had was we cut back all the brush next to our house, kind of no places to hide. Put all the light bulbs in your lights outside that are burned out. Add some floodlights if you can do that. And we started putting game cameras up. And I never put the game cameras up thinking that I was going to get something on camera, but I put them where I didn't want them to be. I had a lot of activity, I think, go on by my girls' windows. So I put a game camera pointing right at their window, and everything stops. Nothing goes on. And I'm like, great, that's good. I don't want anything going on right there.
Yeah. So maybe that kind of infrared kind of thing, it is true that they did. They can sense that and don't like it, or whatever that is.
I think they can. I think they can see it. In my opinion, is they can see it, and some people will be like, "Well, you can't see infrared. There's no way you can see that." Well, I can see the infrared on the camera go off in the low light when it's foggy in the morning. When I walk in front of the camera, I hear the click, and I see a little red light shining through the fog. Well, if nothing else, maybe they can see that, but you can hear the clicks on these things, and you can see these camouflage little square boxes put on trees that weren't there before. I've heard a lot of people that had their cameras smashed, or pictures of nothing or whatever, or, you get a lot of pictures of, bear, cougar, deer, and then pictures of nothing. Well, we didn't have anything like that happen. We just had activity kind of stop at our house, and that's what I wanted. I don't want things happening in my house. I don't go looking for these things or hunting them or this or that. I don't have time for that. Just want things to go away, and hey, you stay up the mountain. That's your space. This is my space down here. Stay away from us. That's really all I want or care. I mean, I guess I kind of would like to see one sometime. Just say, okay, yes, get it out of my head that this is definitely what happened. They're definitely real, and maybe I'd do some different things if I knew that for real. But, for now, I'm not actively looking for these things or searching them out or whatever. And, I kind of mentioned that to you before talking. I was just going to kind of put it all behind me, ignore it, whatever. Just, read a story or two or listen to a podcast and that's that. And it just won't let me go. Won't let me drop the subject. Kind of the last experience I had here was, I went out with some guys to go see if the steelhead were running. This would have been, I think it is in March this year, maybe February.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to go up as nighttime. There's a bridge crossing the river right next to the ocean. And you shine your light, and there you can see the steelhead have come up the river yet. And we've been up there a couple of times, hadn't seen anything. We had 5 guys, 5 foot, or we're going to go find some weird thing at night. And we're looking for fish. And we go up, walking up to this thing. Of course, it's pitch black. It's the Oregon coast at nighttime, and the moon's not out. And there's just clouds above there, so it's really dark. And I hear this deep, guttural, rolling growl. And, the hair stands up on my neck, and I know what that is. And it sounds like it's echoing off this bridge. And I'm like, what's standing underneath this bridge? And there's nothing there. So we're a bunch of guys looking for fish and going on a mission to see the steelhead are there. And we keep going and shine a light into the creek. And right before we shine a light into the creek, there's this big, it's a thunk. Something threw something at us into the water or whatever. And we look in the water, and there's these 3 steelhead coming around. We're like, oh, look, fish. So, of course, we forget all about this deep, creepy, scary growl that's vibrating off the bridge. Oh, look, around. I literally have this guy up my back. Shut up and listen to me. Off this whole slope down into the rocks. So maybe it's a bear. It kicked a rock and ran away. No, we didn't hear much of scree or falling into the river. It was just one big giant kerplunk. And it sounded exactly like when, a 20, 25 pound salmon jumps in the little creek, and there's a big thunk.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, hey man, the steelhead must have been jumping, and that's what that sound was, right? And this guy was like, hey, no, dude, you know what? You're a spooky, skittish fish. And if it did jump like that, then not as big as those salmon, and whatever rock was thrown at us or something was huge.
Mm.
So we don't see anything. We go and we go back a couple days later in the daytime.
I'm back, Joel.
Down is a straight shot to that bridge where we were standing on. When this thing, where something growled at us and hucked a rock, I'm guessing, at us. And I don't know, maybe we messed up its hunt, or we wrong place, wrong time. But this is straight shot to us. If something would have growled, it would have vibrated and echoed off that bridge, kind of like we heard. And a bear wouldn't growl that long. A bear can't throw rocks and sticks. I guess if a bum wanted to hang out there and throw things at us in the middle of the night, I mean, he got us. Good for him,
Mm-hmm.
You fooled us. But I don't know what else it was. I don't know how else to explain what that was. So, when that happens, I keep reading, hearing these same stories about what's going on in other people's places, and listen to podcasts and stories, and especially other ones all around from Oregon. Some of the ones that you had. I know where these places are. I know people are talking about. I mean, I know exactly where, some of these stories that took place where they are, and they
Yeah.
sound almost exactly the same as my story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes it gets kind of weird when we hear like a
So
bunch
that's
of different
kind
encounter
of what's going
stories.
on. That's all I got.
Yeah, when you start hearing like a bunch of different encounter stories and things are just very different from the other constantly, that gets kind of weird. I think there's got to be some sort of uniformity between how these creatures behave or react, enact, and period. I mean, it's like a bear, a mountain lion, or even chipmunks, for crying out loud. They all
Hmm.
share some sort of, you know, share a lot of similar behaviors. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, when I start hearing about things, that are just kind of a little out there, that's when I start to question, okay, is this is something really that they really observed or not? I'm not going to sit there and question anybody if but the point is that there's most of this stuff, when I decide to go through and grab somebody's anecdotal reports of their Bigfoot experience and turn it into these awesome little campfire stories, I like to find things that really do sound pretty realistic to me. Things that are
Hmm.
and like you're the slapping, the mumbling, the child crying, the talking, the whistling, and even the visual that even your little ones have had expressed to you, even being 3 years old, doesn't matter.
Right.
These things are relatively normal from what we hear on other reports and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it's been pretty quiet out
Just
there.
a couple last things. Yeah. Well, it has. We've been hearing some of the, there's some bugles and type things that come out here that I have a recording of, and I might have sent it to you, but I can do that. But
Yeah, send it to me. We'll check this out.
it's always this kind of uniform bugle type. Yeah, there's always a sound. It just sounds not like a dog, not like a coyote, not an elk. And the closest thing I can come to is I YouTubed gibbons, like the monkeys, gibbon monkeys,
Mm-hmm.
and they get really high pitched and sound like
Oh yeah,
R2D2,
yeah.
right? And that's not what we hear. They have this lower kind of full echoey sound right before they go really high pitched, and we hear variations of that out here, and a lot more than what the gibbons would do. But I guess if a Bigfoot is kind of an ape thing,
Mm-hmm.
they could probably make those kind of sounds. And I heard the talking one time, and my window was open at nighttime, and I heard it sounded like teenage girls. Say when you're on the river, floating the river in tubes or something like that, and you hear some girls on the other side of the river, and they're talking, and you
Mm-hmm.
hear them talking, and it's kind of high pitched like that, but you can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah,
That's exactly
yeah.
how I would describe it. Like,
If you
teenage girls talking across the river.
yeah, if you can, please send me you can attach those into an email for me. We'd love to share those a little bit on the Facebook page. Let people listen to it. I got a lot of researchers that
Sure,
head over
sure.
there and would like to go through that, kind of listen to them as well. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, put it out there and tell me, if you tell me what it is, it's great. Some people are like, that's not a Bigfoot. Like, I'm not asking that. Just, what is it, an elk? No, that's not an elk. But
Yeah,
it's
don't
not a
tell me what
Bigfoot.
it's not. Tell me what it is.
Okay, Yeah, exactly. What makes prints
Yeah.
and growls and hits your house in the middle of the night?
Mhm.
Help me figure that out.
Yeah. Well, I know you wanted to finish up with a couple other things, so go ahead. And I know you wanted to kind of tell me just a few other things real quick.
That that's kind of it. I have pages and stuff of stories. I could dig out emails, just the different experiences, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know why. Well, okay, I guess I have a couple other things. I used to talk to a guy who lives up above me, and he doesn't live here anymore. He moved, and then he got divorced and took off from this area. But he moved to right where I was at because he was looking for Bigfoot. He had seen one as a kid up above Spokane, Washington, and had been looking ever since, and said they're all over this place. You know, we would text back and forth. Hey, do you hear that? Oh, yeah. Do you hear this? And sometimes we hear the same thing. Sometimes we wouldn't. He was on top of the mountain. I'm, halfway down him. And, and we're just talking, why is it happening here? Why is it going on here? And, he would say, well, this is just kind of their migration place. This is where they go through. And, I don't know. I don't know if I'm, buy into, they migrate and this is a bunch of different groups, or this is one group, or this is one Bigfoot lives here or not. I don't know. I don't have time or the, ability to research that. But he saw one up here. We were talking one time, and they're out looking for one, and they're walking on a trail close to where we took our dog running at, and we had the experience with the guy getting growled at. He was walking a trail over there, and they just dusk, and all of a sudden this big furry blob just comes running in front of them on a trail, and they're like, "Oh my! Oh wait! Did you see that bear? That was close." And like, I don't think that was a bear. And then they looked, and they just see this furry thing, or furry, kind of hairy thing in the bushes, about 7 feet tallish or so, just kind of swaying back and forth. And there's 7 foot tall, swaying back and forth, run in front of them, and they didn't get a good look at it. Yeah, there's another one, and he actually he was above us. There's a water tower above us, and he would walk from his place to this water tower every night, just listening for sounds, this and that, and he hears this thump, 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 thump. Like, who in their right mind is jogging up here? Not I'm the only one up here walking around at night, and who's jogging? So he takes his flashlight and shines it down the trail, and all of a sudden something goes crashing into the bushes. He's like, that doesn't sound right. And he looks down, he's like, man, all I have is a little 38. I don't know if I should be out here. And and what he said was, at his little 38, I went out to one time and I had a 45, and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm armed. I'm carrying it. I was like, well, I am too. He's like, well, that's just what we do, I was like, exactly. And he's out there by himself with a 38, and he's like, this thing ran at me and stopped right, at the edge of the bush line and kind of bluff charged the guy. I guess. Like, wow, okay, and he's spot on. He was telling me the same sounds, the same story, the same this and that, and I wasn't there. He could have been feeding me a story, but it sounds right. And actually, kind of the last little thing here is I was kind of how I got a contact with you. Your mom had been to this store. It's got some Bigfoot stuff on it, and she stopped in there, and she got my name and number from that. Well, I stopped in that store, and they had Bigfoot things, and I said, hey, your Bigfoot stuff selling? Is that going well? Like, oh yeah. Hey, and this last night, this other night, this actually, let me get it right. This lady came in there that morning that I'd asked her about it, said they had seen a Bigfoot on their property. One lake over is like a mountain over for me, or a hill, and one lake, south of me. Had this Bigfoot on her property holding the tree. And this Bigfoot took this tree and hit it on another tree like a wood knock, and the tree that he was holding just exploded. So it just sounded loud and crazy. And they heard him tearing this tree down. They look out there and they see this thing holding this tree, smacks against another one, and what he was holding just exploded in his hands. And I was like, wow, well, here's another coincidence for you, that the night before that happened, I was home. It was 12:30. I let my dog out to go pee, and he'll take his time. He'll do anything to spend some more time outside. And after he pees, he might go poop somewhere, drag it out. I'm yelling, I'm like, get in the house, get in the house. He's my daughter's service dog. So, I'm always out here with him at that nighttime. Get in here. I mean, make sure you get eaten by, not a Bigfoot, but even like a cougar or a bobcat or something like that. He's expensive to be running out on his own at nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
But he starts doing his thing, and I'm sitting there with him, and I just hear this crack, probably 50, 60 yards, to my right, down by my neighbors. There's kind of a little thing of trees there. And I was like, is that a bear? No. Didn't hear it run off. Is that raccoons messing around in the branches? No, I don't think so. And the dog just looks over there when he heard that crack. His eyes just get big, and he couldn't finish going to the bathroom quick enough. And, it took him a while. And as soon as he was done, there was no messing around, and he beelined it straight back into the house. And so it happened the night before. The night before, the other person said that they saw this Bigfoot slamming a tree against another tree. And I haven't talked to them yet. I'm trying to kind of figure out who they are. Hey, leave my name and number. Tell them I believe them. Tell them I had weird things going on too. Are they freaked out? Maybe I can tell them what's happened up here or whatnot. But just another coincidence or anecdotal piece of evidence out there saying there's something out there banging sticks together or doing weird things at night.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is yet for sure.
Well, I've always found the Southern Oregon coast to just the whole just the mountain range and everything through there just to be absolutely amazing. And I'm telling you, full of these things. So, but thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, no problem, David. And, thanks for having me on, and let me share the story. And I wasn't going to do that, but things keep happening again and again and again. And it's like, well, okay, I know it's happened to other people, so maybe you could try this or try that, I guess.
Yeah. Plus, my mom's a pretty nice lady, so she's funny. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for getting on here, and hold on one second, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and end this interview, guys. Thank you for being a part of the PacWest Bigfoot community. You guys can get over to Facebook and follow me there, and all the cool encounter stories and all of the awesome interviews. And once again, God bless you guys from the beautiful Pacific Northwest.